everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, we are talking top takeaways week one in college football, previewing week two, best games, top prospects to watch. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
What is going on, man? I am excited. We had our first real full weekend of college football games, and it did not disappoint.
Man, there weren't a lot of great games, but there were surprises, there were twists, there were a lot of 180s in terms of certain programs. But I'll throw it to you, man, before we deep dive into week two of college football. What was your top takeaway from week one?
Yeah, honestly, I think, and this is probably going to be pretty popular with a lot of people, is, the University of Colorado. They were a one-win team last year. Deion Sanders comes in, returns only 3 starters. People are coming in, coming out of the transfer portal. We didn't know what we were going to get. And, they went up against TCU, who was in the national championship game last year. And, to me, I personally thought that was the absolute game of the week. It was a close game, 45-42, Colorado pulling it out. Just so many great storylines from this game. And yeah, I just think, while Colorado may not necessarily end up, being a national contender, I think they're at least kind of put themselves on the map and, said, hey, listen, we're not going to be bowled over this year. You're going to have to fear us a little bit.
Yeah, the trio of Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Dylan Edwards, man, absolutely ridiculous. They might be a top offense in college football. Just already circle that September 30th matchup between Shedeur Sanders and Caleb Williams, because that's going to be must-see TV. Yeah, we're literally that's the take, right? We're literally living in a world where the Colorado Buffaloes, the Colorado Buffs are now must-see TV on college football Saturdays. It's crazy, man. Travis Hunter clearly a generational talent. I've never seen anything like that. As a cornerback, his read reactability, his just route running and ball skills as a receiver are just unmatched. Played nearly 130 snaps. 130 snaps in week one. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what position. I don't think he's going to be a 2-position player in the NFL. No. And I don't know what he's going to be best at. I need to see more. But the Colorado Buffaloes are real, and no one can deny that. I didn't buy into it heading into this season because we talked about it here on the show. Yeah. And my God, that was something.
So far, so good. They've lived up to the hype. Deion certainly, has their players playing for him. And yeah, I mean, Hunter, my guy, honestly, I think he had, one of the plays of the year so far. That diving interception was just insane. I honestly still don't understand how he was able to break on that ball so quickly and then make that play. And it turned, changed the tide of the game. And the fact that he wasn't just doing it on the defensive side of the ball, he was catching, balls and And Shedeur Sanders, comes out first, no big deal. First Power 5 football game, breaks Colorado's passing record over 500 yards. Whatever, no big deal. He's got this. So he certainly is going to be a name that we're going to have to keep track of in the quarterback race as we get closer to the draft, because he's put his name in the likes of this top 5 that we've been talking about for weeks now.
Absolutely. I obviously I didn't watch a lot of Shedeur Sanders last season. So I came into this season, expecting some mechanical issues, expecting some footwork issues, because that's all I read. And I didn't see any issues. I'll be honest. Inside the pocket, outside the pocket, he was navigating the pocket, looked calm against pressure with defenders in his face, making throws, big-time throws down the football field. I think he's absolutely in that conversation for QB3. It's, for me at least, it's early, very early. But it's Caleb Williams, Drake May. That third tier is wide open. It's Michael Penix Jr., it's Bo Nix, it's Shedeur Sanders, it's Quinn Ewers, although he's kind of dropping like a rock. Who knows? So I think, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. So Colorado is one to watch. I want to give a shout out to Drew Aller out of Penn State, who I thought was really strong. I think he raises the bar of that Penn State ceiling, no question. We already know how elite that Penn State defense is. I still have question marks about that interior defensive line for the Penn State Nittany Lions. But if that's the expectation we should expect. That amazing ability for him to kind of navigate the pocket, throw on the move, amazing accuracy, amazing arm strength, great arm talent. Drew Aller was the real deal. We normally don't see kind of guys like that kind of own the moment, and he did, and he's that good. He's the most hyped up Penn State prospect in a long time, and we're going to be talking about Penn State on this show for the next couple of years because they're going to be pumping out first rounders for a long time. So Drew Aller is a guy that I thought deserves a shout out. Any others before we roll on to week 2?
No, again, I think, Caleb Williams, again, while it's kind of expected, I thought he had, again, a solid day, did his job, and kept himself 100% in that number 1 spot. And he had a fantastic day. So I enjoy watching that kid.
The funniest thing about Caleb Williams is I made a highlight reel of him. I made a short highlight reel of him. Just 5 of the best throws from Caleb Williams last week, and I shit you not, it was like some of the most amazing plays you'll ever see. Like the play he made, escaping, from the sideline, just flicks his wrist and the ball goes like 50 yards downfield. Literally perfect throw to Dorian Williams down the sideline. There's another play where he threw a touchdown pass after evading pressure for like 20 freaking seconds, and just whips the ball. Amazing arm talent. His improvisation skills, his creation, his ability to make something out of nothing, man. We've never seen it before. It's like John Elway-esque. Like it's truly generational.
Yeah,
we're talking about and I think Travis Hunter is at that level, and that might be crazy to think, but I truly think that Travis Hunter has entered the Heisman conversation just as much as Caleb Williams this week.
Yeah, listen, you're not wrong. Honestly, he definitely came and kicked down the door, and it was great to see. It's anytime that you can see a player just absolutely take over a game and just that moment, you see that moment, and that was his moment, absolutely. And I feel like Shedeur Sanders kind of had a similar moment there where he just is announcing himself to the world, and the two of them in that game, again, TCU is certainly not, a powerhouse by any means, but they were in the national championship game last year. So they are ranked. So listen, good for Colorado, good for for Hunter and Sanders for showing out. And I cannot wait to continue to watch them every game.
Yeah. Fire Crew says, good luck on 20K. We'll get there. We just passed 10K, which is crazy.
Give us a little time, unless you happen to know 10K more people.
I don't even know 100 people.
I know.
If that. All right. But yeah, that's a little bit on week 1. Let's get into week 2, Ryan. Here are our top Eagles targets, prospects to watch for week 2 as I find the video. Let's roll. All right, let's roll into our top prospects for 2024 to watch. Lead us off, Ryan. Who's your number 1?
All right. So last week I went with offensive tackles, as I thought that was a very important position for the Philadelphia Eagles to be looking at, given the age of one Lane Johnson and the uncertainty of where this line might be in a few years, given the youth that we have, and Kelsey and Jurgens and Steen and whatnot. So I thought to myself, what's the next position that we're probably going to be needing some help at? Well, it couldn't have come at a better position that I love more than anything else, and that's linebackers, baby. Linebackers. Now, one thing I will say, I don't have anybody here that I think is going to be necessarily a first rounder. Potentially, certainly potentially, depending on how their seasons go and needs and whatnot. But I kind of went with round 2, round 3 guys. As that seems to be the Eagles' forte. So I'll start with Ohio State linebacker, and that's Tommy Eichenberg. Tommy Eichenberg is he's kind of a rangy defender, very instinctual when it comes to locating the ball, and has that quickness to get there before those blockers can react on that second level. He's really good as a zone defender. I think he also is, kind of that good size, filled out frame, good thickness to him, and plays at a very good, full speed when it comes to being a linebacker. So, his quickness and again, his kind of understanding of those angles and how to beat those blockers to the ball, especially again on that second level, is his, strength. So, I'm really kind of excited to kind of see how his season goes, obviously being with Ohio State and the fact that they're going to be playing some pretty strong competition, so especially that Michigan game. I can't wait for those running backs in Michigan and Eichenberg to kind of crash. That'll be a really, really good matchup for me. So Eichenberg is somebody that I feel like right now, again, is kind of maybe in that, day 2, early day 3 range. You never know. Again, he easily could kind of sneak into the first round. Again, linebackers, it's a little tough because, I feel like it's kind of like corners. They fluctuate a lot throughout the season as far as where rankings are and where people perceive them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could easily see him slip into the end of first round, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping he keeps kind of that second, third round, and the Eagles might actually have a shot to draft him. So,
love Tommy Eichenberg, leader of that Ohio State defense. Ohio State kind of got some slack this week. They only won like 24-3.
Right.
It was more so about the offense than the defense.
Right.
I remember covering Tommy Eichenberg last off season because he was a potential draft pick, and I liked him a lot. So I think he's definitely one to watch out for. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. The Eagles do not. There we go. All right. But Tommy Eichenberg is a great selection. I'm going to go defensive back, as I like to do here, and I'm going to roll with my guy, Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop out of Utah had a great game in week 1. 11 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss. He's a guy that can kind of do it all. He's great downhill. He led the Utah defense against Graham Mertz in week 1 and got home 5 different times, 5 sacks, held an offense that included Travis Etienne, who I think is an underrated player in college football, and Montrell Johnson to just 3 yards per carry. 6'2", really good size. I think he's a day 2 guy as well, Ryan. And I think you look at week 2 and that matchup against Baylor. Baylor, who kind of got straight up embarrassed against Texas State last weekend. The Baylor Bears don't have a single draft prospect kind of on the radar, especially when it comes to wide receiver. So I'm looking at Cole Bishop, man, to continue the trend, continue that momentum, lay the hammer at least a couple times against the Baylor Bears, and we'll see, man. But Cole Bishop is a great prospect, and I would be ecstatic for the Eagles to kind of pair him up with the Sidney Brown, with the Reed Blankenship in that like kind of 3-headed monster. So that's my first Eagles target. You're muted, man. You're muted, man.
My bad. Yeah, no, that's a great start. Honestly, I thought he had a fantastic game against Florida, and yeah, I mean, honestly, he was definitely the leader of that defense there. So yeah, I definitely agree. He's kind of probably a day tour, and yeah, he'd be really nice to add to the mix. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I love those kind of safeties that can kind of like play in the slot. You can kind of throw them all over the place.
Yeah.
Uh, guys like that, and I think we've seen players like that succeed here in Philly in recent history. So, all right, who's your number 2?
Very, very true. So I am going to again stick with the linebackers as I am for the next two here. Junior Colson out of Michigan. I'm staying in the Big Ten. I'm staying with linebacker. This guy wasn't initially on my radar. In fact, I'm pretty sure you were the one who told me about him. And so then I started kind of looking into him. And listen, anybody who knows me, anybody who's seen any of these shows or any of our other draft shows or mock drafts or anything knows that I absolutely love linebackers. And anytime that I fall in love with a guy, it means something to me because that means you're a special linebacker to me. And I think this guy, the more I look into him, more I look into Junior Colson, I think he is slowly becoming one of my favorites. He just has I don't know how else to describe it. He just kind of has that feel to get to the ball, to get off his blockers in such a quickness, and just knowing where to be. And that's something that you cannot teach. It is just instinctual with this guy. He absolutely just has a knack for that ball carrier, and he's disruptive, constantly in the backfield. And just plays with such speed and agility that it's honestly a thing of beauty to watch this kid. And I'm surprised he's not getting more love nationally. He definitely has flashes of kind of a power to his game. I think certainly that's something that he would need to kind of continue to work on. He does tend to kind of overcommit sometimes. So that over aggressiveness, can kind of bite him. But I feel like he, is going to be, slowly working on that, and certainly, he gets that under control. He'll sky's the limit for this guy. But yeah, just absolutely plays with such a disruption, such a great speed and agility, and just such an instinctual knack for the ball. It's Michigan really got themselves a guy. So. I definitely thank Dives for pointing me in his direction. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm Team Junior Colson. I'm super biased. I'm not even a Michigan fan.
Yeah, same.
I made a statement. I made a bold prediction that he'll be linebacker 1, above a Barrett Carter, above a Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I think Junior Colson is that good, and he's kind of new to the position. He's one of my breakout stars of college football. And who else is on my breakout stars? Keon Coleman, who completely lit up the LSU defense last night. So make sure you go check that out. I have made a whole series of under the radar sleeper prospects to watch out for. Junior Colson and Keon Coleman was on the top of the list. I love Junior Colson, man. He's really fun to watch, man. I want to talk about Tyler Nubin. You went linebacker. I went defensive back. Tyler Nubin is a guy that was simply dominant in week 1, man. This is a guy that with really good size, again, like a Cole Bishop, 6'2", 209 pounds, man. But he's got great versatility. Again, you're going to hear that trend a lot. The Eagles love positional versatility, guys that can play all over the place. But Nubin has the instincts. He has the ball skills. He's always in the right spot. One of the best read-react abilities in the entire class. Had a ridiculous passer rating allowed of 2.8 in week 1. This guy, like Junior Colson, like Keon Coleman, was also in my most underrated prospects list and had 2 interceptions in week 1. He had 4 total in 2022. So he's already nearly half at that mark. I would love to see Tyler Nubin selected day 2. for the Eagles. I think it's kind of realistic because I think low key the safety class in this draft in 2024 with the Cameron Kinchens, with the James Williams and things like that is low key deep. So Tyler Newman, one to watch out for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, I thought, when we were discussing this, it was another great pick, very versatile. And as you said it perfectly. The Eagles love the versatility, and that's something that they crave on this team. So you see it all over the place, not just, in the defensive backfield. It's everywhere. So.
All right. Who is your number 2? Number 3.
Yeah.
Number 3.
So again, we're sticking with linebacker as I said. I'm going to go with Georgia linebacker Smael Mondon Jr. This guy, he is a junior in Georgia. He absolutely is kind of flying under the radar for me because there's plenty of defensive players, from Georgia. Why not add another one for the Philadelphia Eagles? But the thing is, again, as a linebacker, he is really good, in my opinion, in coverage. He just kind of has a good knack for it. Seems to know exactly where he needs to be, in coverage, and often seems to be, getting to the receiver right at the same time as the ball, either knocking the ball away or knocking the receiver down. So doesn't give hardly any yards if he is giving up any catches. Kind of has that immediate tackle ability when in coverage. He is super aggressive, nonstop motor, one of those guys where he's just flying around and just has the instincts to kind of back it up and the closing speed to get to the ball. And like I said, meet that ball carry very quickly. When he certainly is coming off of kind of the line of scrimmage, he does show good quickness, good violent hands, kind of is able to kind of get around that edge when asked to pressure the quarterback. So a little undersized, but, again, is just explosive, nonstop motor, and just is one of those sideline to sideline linebackers. And again, the Eagles need somebody that can be, not only just have that motor, but also be, good in coverage, because that seems to be our kryptonite when it comes to linebackers. We can't ever seem to get decent coverage linebackers. So, and again, I think this should be a great fit for the Philadelphia Eagles in some of the later round, to round 2, round 3, somewhere in there. And again, with Georgia, they're going to be in the national spotlight. So we're going to see this guy. And again, if he can certainly step up, he can absolutely make a name for himself in this upcoming draft.
Yeah. Mondon Jr. is a guy that's going to blow up at the combine. Remember that name.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those combine freaks that'll come in there and
he's going to run a 4.4 40 and be a darling. So That's a good one. My last one before we get into players of the week predictions. Guy that we've talked a lot about is J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham, a tackle prospect that I think is in that tier below an Olu Fashanu, right below a Joe Alt. I think he's in that same mix of Amarius Mims. He's got great tools. A guy that is going to, like Mondon Jr., blow up at the combine. Amazing tools, great athlete. He's way bigger than 335 pounds. He showed up at 360 to start the season. 5-star recruit. He didn't move to left tackle this year. Alabama played him at right tackle in week 1. I don't know if that sticks. We'll see. It's still early. But you look at, Howie Roseman's kind of, knack for looking 2-3 years down the road. I think locking in a right tackle, maybe moving up. The Eagles got 3 picks in the top 2 rounds of next year's draft. Do they lock in their next right tackle of the future here and, move up a little bit? It's very possible. But this is a guy that allowed only one QB hit and did not allow a single sack in 2022. He's a great prospect. JC Latham is my next prospect to watch.
Nice. Yeah, no, he's definitely my favorite of the kind of second tier linemen there. And yeah, listen, he comes from Alabama. They produce some big boys down there. So yeah, I'd be all for it. I don't know if that's something that we may take. If he's going to be kind of at the end of the first round kind of guy, which is likely. So yeah, I'd be down for it. Like I said, I ran through a couple of early to mid rounders last week on the tackle position. So yeah, I'm all in.
All right, let's roll on to our players of the week predictions. There it is.
You can't manage this, can't break this bar funded. Gotta keep my distance when you not 100. Those the same ones say they love you, late and funny. You can't match my energy, and yeah, you know it. Way too cold, yeah, man, I'm way too cold. Way too cold, yeah, man, I'm way too cold.
All right, let's jump into players of the week predictions. Let's look at last week's kind of breakdown. This one's tough. This one is tough. So, that's not the right one. Hold on. There it is. Ryan, you picked Trey Benson out of Florida State. He had 13 touches for 54 yards. I took Malik Neighbors, 6 receptions, 67 yards. It's up for debate. I put a poll on YouTube to see kind of what people thought, who was the best of the best there. Malik Neighbors, shockingly, 62 votes. 77% are saying the Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
I'm not in that. I'm wrong a lot. But thank you, Fire Crew. Love the comments. But Trey Benson was part of a second half for Florida State where they completely rolled the number 5 LSU Tigers. So I'll throw it to you, man. Is it justified? This is you. I'm throwing it to you. I'm conceding.
You are leaving it on my shoulders, huh?
You throw it back to me.
Listen, I'm not gonna deny getting myself another victory this early because I'm gonna need to stack them up. I have a feeling early as much as I can. So yeah, this one is certainly a close one. But yeah, I'll steal the victory.
All right, Trey Benson for the W. Ryan, who is your player of the week?
When I was looking at this, and we were, talking about, obviously our guys that we predicted didn't have the greatest of game. We picked the same game. It was, it was a good game, the first half certainly, but kind of got away from everybody there. But and we had talked about who shined this past week, and with Hunter and a bunch of other guys. But looking at the schedule upcoming, I'm actually going to be looking a little. This guy caught my eye after what he did last week. Now again, it was against Mercer. They demolished Ole Miss, demolished Mercer 73-7. But there was a wide receiver for Ole Miss that really stuck out to me. Trey Harris.
Okay.
He ended up having 133 yards, four touchdowns, and looking at the highlights from that game, man, this kid clearly has it, and I think is certainly going to make him names for himself at some point in the national scene. But they have a tough upcoming matchup. Coming up with Tulane. So I think Tulane's ranked 24th. Ole Miss is ranked 22nd. It'll be a nice, good matchup. It'll be a good barometer to see where this kid is. Not just against some kind of joke team, but real competition. So I'm going to pick him for my player of the week upcoming, and I'm just hoping he kind of steps up.
Interesting. I did not see you going that route. All right, Trey Harris. out
Yeah.
of Ole Miss for Ryan this week.
Like I said, it kind of, I was looking at things and it kept popping up, and that meant something to me, man. I said,
Love it.
let's give this kid a shot and see what he does in a real 25 matchup, and see if he can't do the same thing.
All right. I'm going obviously a much bigger name, but you never know how these things work. I'm going Xavier Worthy for the Texas Longhorns. The game of the week, Texas versus Alabama, no question about it. But what I'm looking at most notably here is the absence of a couple safeties that just got injured in week 1 for the Crimson Tide. They lost Malachi Moore and Jalen Key. Those are their top 2 safeties here. And you look at, some of the Texas weapons on offense, Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, JT Sanders. You look at week 1, Xavier Worthy got the majority of the snap or the targets in that offense. Quinn Ewers is going to be throwing the ball 50 times in a game. So I'm going to go Xavier Worthy of this one. That doesn't necessarily mean I think Texas beats Alabama. I think it's going to be Bama in the end. But I think Worthy gets a ton of targets. And finally get this guy the ball in space, because he's not necessarily a downfield threat, where this guy is a true weapon is once this guy gets the ball moving. You saw his numbers really take a dip the last 2 years when kind of the Texas Longhorns tried to treat him as more of a vertical threat. His numbers really dipped. I think this guy, get the ball to him in that short to intermediate game and let him make defenders miss. That's where he's at his best. So Xavier Worthy is one to watch out for. That is my player of the week prediction. Any thoughts on that before we wrap it up?
No, I think that game, obviously that's the one game I think that I am going to be glued to. And yeah, Worthy, as we've mentioned many times, this process, that this guy is absolutely one of the better wide receivers, especially outside of Ohio State, in the nation. So I think he certainly has a chance to kind of really show out, and I kind of expect Alabama to kind of pull away from this game. So maybe we kind of get some extra love there the fourth quarter, trying to play from behind. So yeah, I think that was a good good choice.
All right, that basically wraps it up for week number 2. Ryan, where can we find you, man? Final plugs, final thoughts.
You can find me at Philly Sports Alliance, at Philly Sports PSA on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you put on those automatic notifications for Facebook, so that way you get all of our shows throughout the week, as we have shows coming at you live. But you also get our shows. You also get the Edge of Philly Sports shows. So everything that comes through their network comes through ours on Facebook. So those notifications will let you know exactly when we're live. But yeah, we do. Normally I do a show earlier on Monday. We decided not to do it today. Obviously, this is coming at you every single week. Tomorrow we have Birds of the Round Table. Wednesday, Party on Broad. I mean, there's so many damn shows coming. Just honestly, just be ready for all of them. Well, we're coming. So, and make sure most notably you follow this guy anywhere you can. He puts out amazing content and keeps everybody informed, which is the best thing ever.
Thanks, man. Wow, I didn't even realize Trey Harris had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, 4. I know. That's why I was like, all right, kids.
That's what I honestly, I don't know who that is, and I'm like reading about him now. He had 4 touchdowns in week 1. That's
and he
wild.
He looked good doing it. So since I continued, I was like, all right, let's continue with it. See what happens.
I'm impressed, Ryan. You always make me impressed, and that's 22.2 yards per reception. Okay, I'm in. I'm gonna go. I'm definitely watching YouTube on this guy.
Yeah.
As we close up shop here.
That's the thing. I only just did a quick dive, so I'm with you. I'm ready to dive full headfirst into this guy.
Cool. Yeah, if you love college football, I mean, I put out probably like 10 shorts between Thursday and right now. Highlight reels, winners of the week, you name it, everything college football. We will be breaking down Eagles versus Patriots tomorrow night. That is going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot to talk about there. There'll probably be some sort of takeaway from this Clemson-Duke game. I'm not really sure yet. It's a very low-scoring game here after the first half, 7-6. Clemson has the lead. We'll see what happens. But Wednesday, Party on Broad, more Eagles. So if you love college football, man, we got it on lockdown. I recorded with Mark and Shane another Week 2 preview that will be dropping on Wednesday. More of the same, breaking down top matchups to watch, games of the week. We go in-depth. I went really in-depth on Alabama versus Texas. So be on the lookout for that. And follow my man Ryan. He is at Philly Sports PSA, Philly Sports Alliance, man. Good guys, as always. This is our NFL Draft Weekly show. We go live every Monday night at 9 o'clock, kind of just reacting to our, top reactions, takeaways to everything we just saw. So this is going to be one of the all-time college football seasons, I promise, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of things went chalk this week. I think like the top quarterbacks like Penix and Bo Nix and guys just balled out as expected. But it's going to be a really fun breaking it down. So he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot. We'll see you tomorrow night. Birds of the Round Table, talking Eagles. He is Ryan. I am Dives. Stay awesome, everyone.